Now, we heard on Game Changers a few weeks back how Brighton and Hove City Council wants to become the UK's top city for women and girls in sport this year by creating better access to sport and sharing and championing some of the amazing sporting achievements and stories of local women. Well, one young woman who's got plenty to celebrate is 18-year-old boxer Isabel Mitchell, who claimed victory at the Golden Girl Boxing Championships in Sweden last month. She's from Hastings but trains at the Brighton and Hove Boxing Gym at the King Alfred Leisure Centre, and I've been chatting to her about what boxing means to her and how she got into the sport in the first place.
I was about 11 and I got into it by accident. See, because I was on holiday and I'd broken my leg, so I couldn't come back to the country because of some rules. And my brother had started boxing because my dad got him into it because he's a boy and he thought, well, he needs to learn how to fight. So when I came back, I just went off to go watch him at a session one day because I was bored and had nothing to do. And I just saw everybody training and I was like, wow, this is so cool. I don't know, something just clicked in me and I was just like, I need to try this. And I turned to my dad, I'm like, Dad, can you let me have a go at this? And he looked at me like, are you sure? You do know what it is, right? And I'm like, yeah, of course. And so the next week, I started training and I've basically been training ever since.
So, when you started doing it, when you got in the ring, when you started training for the first time, what were the things that were really clicking with you that you thought, I'm loving this?
My first sparring session was where I was really like, okay, I'm really enjoying this. Because even though I was probably the only other girl there apart from one other girl, and I was sparring all the boys, I was sort of holding my own with them, and I'm like, okay, maybe I've got a bit of talent here. So that was really where it clicked. I was like, okay, if I can hold my own with the boys, I should be fine with the girls.
Now, I know that we shouldn't judge by appearances, but when I met you a couple of minutes ago, if I'd have seen you in the street, if I'd not known you were a boxer, I would never have guessed in a million years. You're sort of very elegant, you're quite dainty, there's nothing about you that really screams boxer. Am I the only person to have said that?
No, I get it all the time. I mean, even at the gym, when I told the lads I'm nearly 19 now, they turned around and said, "Shut up, you look 12." So I get it all the time, like comments, especially on my YouTube channel. You know, people say, "Oh, I could never imagine you as a boxer." I get it all the time, and I find it a compliment because stereotypically most women in boxing, I don't want to sound rude, but they kind of look very thuggy. They feel like they have to become a man to be in a man's sport, when you don't need to do that. If you can maintain the thing that makes women so cool, which is their elegance, their femininity, in a man's world, then you've won, really.
And there you are, sparring away at first, just with the boys and maybe the odd girl,
Yeah.
finding that you could hold your own. Did you ever find it scary?
Um, yeah, I did. Sometimes you just get into your head what might happen. And it's obviously because I'm an overthinker, so most of it never happens anyway. It's just me blowing stuff out of proportion. You do kind of get a bit scared. I mean, at one point I was having panic attacks in sparring and in fights, and it just made life really hard.
What made you keep going though?
Well, I've had a lot of support from my family, especially my dad, because obviously at the beginning I had a lot of people telling me I shouldn't be doing it. You know, you're going to mess up your looks. You should go to uni because you're really smart. But my family have always been there, sort of pushing me, even when I myself wanted to sort of quit because I'm like, oh, I've had enough of this. But they've always pushed me to keep going, and I've always kept going.
You're training with Brighton and Hove Boxing Gym there. What kind of environment is that like to train in?
I'd say it's the best environment that I've been in so far. It's very professional. There's no messing around. Their sole focus is to win tournaments, and that's what I've been looking for. Because most of the clubs that I've been at, they've sort of been a bit like lukewarm, a bit watery, where it's more buddy, and you know we're just doing this for fun. But that's not what I'm looking for. So I'm really glad it's a very professional club.
I mean, this is proper fighting talk, and you are winning tournaments, aren't you? I mean, this last year. Tell me about your latest competition last month.
My latest competition was the Golden Girl in Sweden, which is the biggest female competition in the world. There was over 500 female boxers there, and it was the first time I'd ever done 3 fights in a row, and it was really hard as well because I was struggling to make weight. So every night I was having to be in the sauna, wearing a bin bag and my coat.
What does that mean then, struggling to make weight? What, to actually kind of get to the target weight?
So when my weight category is at, the cutoff is 48 kilos. I was about 48 and a half. So Thursday night after I'd landed in Sweden, I had to get in the sauna with a bin bag. I couldn't eat or drink. And then I got up in the morning and I was waiting around in the weigh-in for about 2 hours, and I'd lost about 0.6 just waiting. So I weighed in 47.3, brilliant.
Presumably you have to be really aware of nutrition and looking after yourself, but also keeping your strength up as well.
Yeah, I mean, I follow diets pretty much year round. Got to eat a certain way. Even in the off season, you've got Christmas and your birthday and stuff, I don't really tend to eat too much bad food.
Is that because of a drive to go all the way? You want to turn pro, ultimately?
Yeah, I do. That's because I know that, like I said, I've experienced that now, and it is no fun. And I'm like, that is not worth an extra few chocolate bars here and there. It's just not worth it. So for a long time I've always said, I'm always going to make sure that I'm within range and that I don't mess up with my weight, because that's where all the damage can be done. And my boxing career might end at some point naturally, and I don't want to spend the rest of my life in a wheelchair or in a hospital bed.
And have you got people kind of keeping an eye on you the other way as well, if your weight was to dip too low?
Yeah, I mean, if suddenly I woke up, I don't know, and I've lost a ton of weight unnaturally, then yeah, of course they would always step in as well, because then that means something's wrong.
What was it like walking away knowing that you'd won that Golden Girl competition?
I was just so grateful, because I didn't even think I was going to make it through the quarterfinal, because a couple of weeks you could see the draw, and the draw is basically who's in it, and I was like, oh, I've got some really good people in there. I don't know if I'm going to even I wasn't even focused on winning. I was just like, okay, if I can just sort of stand my ground, I just want to see where I'm at with these high level girls, and whatever happens, happens. But luckily, I made it through the quarterfinal, and I was like, okay, that was a relief. I'm glad I didn't go out in the first round, and that gave me a little bit of confidence going into the semi-final. And I was like, okay, I'm 2/3 of the way through. I can do it. And so winning the final was just such a massive relief, because, like I said, going into it, I didn't even think I was going to win. And obviously all the problems during that whole weekend, it made it so much more difficult. So I was just really thankful and grateful that I won.
Would you say that something happens then when you get into the ring to make you more confident, to make you more calm?
Well, getting into the ring, so most people before fights, they're freaking out, they're stressing out over every little thing there, and that's natural, obviously, and I'm not diminishing anybody that feels like that. But when I'm in the ring, I'm just supernaturally calm. I have no nerves. There's no background noise in my mind. Everything, I sort of enter into a flow state. Everything becomes every punch sort of flows one after another. I can think clearer, more tactically, but outside of the ring, I'm a complete stress head. My brain's all over the place 90% of the time. But in the ring, there's no fear, there's no anxiety. It's just, like I said, a supernatural calmness, which helps me to be able to get through all my fights, actually, without having all those nerves and that feeling of being sick that affects a lot of people.
How has being a boxer over the past few years helped with your mental health?
I was always very introverted and shy on a ridiculous scale. I remember a time when my dad asked me what my favourite type of music was, and I couldn't even answer him, because to me that was such a personal question. I just couldn't answer it. So that's on the level of anxiety and introvertedness I'm talking about. And boxing just allowed me to sort of have confidence enough just to be able to speak to people and just have the confidence and the strength and the courage to be able to just be a normal human being, just living a life. I mean, if you asked me to do this 3 years ago, I would have told you, nope, not doing it. So it has given me a lot of strength just to come out of my shell and be a person.
Do you think that you are in some way now, because of your YouTube channel, because you are getting all these like high level fights and winning them, do you think that that has made you a bit of a role model for other young girls who might want to try boxing for the first time?
Well, I hope so. I hope, young girls can look at me and go, you know what, I wouldn't mind being like Isabel Mitchell, because I remember when I was younger, I hated being myself. I was like, please, 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 why can't I be anybody else? So, knowing that there might be a couple of little girls out there who want to be like me is a massive, massive compliment. So I'm grateful if there's somebody out there who wants to be like me.
Boxing obviously, is your whole world at the moment. Have you thought about a life beyond boxing at some point?
Well, I mean, I know that what I'm trying to do, make it professional and stuff, that's already, it's quite a gamble. So at the same time, I'm sort of trying to set up a personal training business on the side to hopefully fund my boxing career. But also, if my boxing does fail, I've got something to fall back on. But at the moment, everything's going well, so I'm just sort of focusing 100% on making that dream come true.
Amateur boxer Isabel Mitchell having a very honest conversation with me about her hopes for the future and her determination to get there. And obviously raising some pretty interesting and potentially difficult issues about health and well-being and sport along the way too. Do visit our action line if there's anything that's popped up there that affected you. bbc.co.uk